So you mentioned this straight line persuasion system as being every sale is the same. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. That's really what's at the heart of the straight line, in the sense that, you can look at a sale and approach it in a way where, there's a start and there's a finish, and there are certain things that have to happen along the way. In other words, it's not like some random, bizarre, psychic thing when someone goes from saying, let me think about it, to saying, yeah, let's do it. And that's really what sales, what persuasion's all about. It's not about getting people who say no to say yes. You don't want to get those people. Well, if they want to say no, then they don't want it. That's fine. You should really try to get them out of the equation before you even try to sell to them, those who really aren't interested and can't benefit from your product. But it's the ones who are on the fence, the ones who would say, let me think about it, let me call you back, let me speak to my lawyer, my accountant, the tooth fairy, whatever it might be, right? So in the sense of there's that group of people. And the reason why they come up with these, where they really stalls versus objections is because there are certain key elements that they're really not convinced on. And those elements, they're in every single sale that you can imagine, whether you're selling something that's tangible like a car or a piece of clothing or a computer, or the intangible, whether it's like investing in an idea, okay, where it's not like a product, so to speak, but it's just something that you can't put your hands on. It's the same thing, and those things must line up before someone says yes. So what happened is, and the reason, it was almost like I cracked the code for influence, because remember this movie, The Italian Job? It's a great movie, right? And in the movie, it's about safe crackers. And a master safe cracker, I think it's played by Donald Sutherland. And when he cracks a safe, what he does is he actually puts his ear to the safe and he spins the dial and listens for that click. And once he has that click, that's one number to the combination. But does the safe open? No, because there's more than one number, one part of a combination. There's like 3 or maybe 5 numbers. Same thing goes in situations of influence. There's 5 things, there's 5 numbers that have to be hit on before someone's going to say, yeah, let's do it. So that's why every sale is the same, because you have to line up those 5 numbers. What I did with the straight line system is I came up with this sort of a syntax, essentially a formula, a strategy for lining up those 5 core elements the same way every time. What I was doing before I invented the straight line, I was doing it automatically. When you find a great salesperson, which is a natural born closer, like that 1.1% of people. Most people just aren't like that, right? They struggle to sell. They're not comfortable selling. Well, they can sell okay, but they're not at the top of the heap, right? Well, if you go to any great closer, they're running a straight line pattern. They're doing that. They're taking those 5 elements and they're sort of cracking that code. So what I did is by taking that, slowing it down, and turning it into a system, I was able to essentially almost implant that into any other person, whether they had natural sales ability or not. And for like an entrepreneur, forget a salesperson, how about just an entrepreneur who's looking to start a business? Well, if you can't sell, if you can't influence, if you can't persuade, good luck trying to get your business off the ground. I'm not talking about just your customers. I'm talking about the bankers, the people with venture capitalists, your vendors, your credit card processor, the people who work for you. How do you get people to work for you excited? How do you get them excited? How do you get them to want to buy into your vision? At the highest level, what sales really is, it's the transference of emotion. And the emotion you're transferring is this emotion of certainty. That someone feels certain, yeah, it's a good thing, it's going to help me, it's going to fill my need. When you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to start a business and you're recruiting people, well, you're selling people on your vision for the future, your vision for this company. If you can't do that, good luck trying to get great people to work for you. It's nearly impossible, which is why you always see, the people, if they say, oh, he's a visionary. Well, that's true, but typically not only are they visionaries, they also possess the ability to sell the vision to other people, to inspire them, to motivate them. So selling is not just like, people think of selling, oh, well, I'm not a salesman, I don't need to. Well, yes, you do. You need to learn how to influence. How about trying to get your kids to make their bed or do their homework or believe in the value of education? How about trying to get a landlord to give you a reduction on your rent or to extend the lease the way you want? How about trying to negotiate terms? You understand, it cuts to everything. So I always look at this, say, when I say I cracked the code on influence, what I really did essentially was I was, by working backwards almost, by saying I'm going to start at the end and go to the beginning, say what has to happen before someone says yes. I was able to take that and put it into this system that took the no-name, talentless guys and turned them into millionaires. And shame on me for being foolish enough and stupid enough at 25 years old to take the first, $5 or $10 million and think, hey, let me live out every adolescent fantasy I ever had, starting with buying a white Ferrari Testarossa because Don Johnson had one, and going out to the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel because Richard Gere had done it in Pretty Woman, and thinking that greed was good because Gordon Gekko had said it. Right now I'm, 50 years old and I know better. Okay, I understand that success without ethics and integrity isn't success; it's failure. So I was forced to start over again. And now I teach things in a very, very different way. The straight line system represents ethical persuasion.
So correct me if this is just rumor, but I understand now you dedicate a portion of your work to protecting consumers in a different way, that is protecting them from the con artists out there. Is that true?
Yeah, well, on a couple of different levels. For instance, one of the things I always say, which is great with the straight line system, is once you learn it, it almost gives you a shield against being manipulated by an unscrupulous salesperson, because you could see it coming a mile away. Even this most subtle thing where they try to use tonality to influence you emotionally, or they try to future pace you, meaning to put you in the future using their prompt and feeling it. All these things that salespeople do. Now, it's once you realize they're doing it, that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy that process. Because if you need what someone's selling, hey, let them go ahead, sell me. Tell me why I need this. Tell me why I'm open to it. But I also know when they're full of shit, okay, and they're trying to just pull the wool over my eyes, and it sort of insulates you. So for me, I look at the straight line system as both. It's a sword and a shield, okay? But it's a sword only to be used for goodness, not to hurt people.
So when you say persuasion, what exactly do you mean?
Well, when I talk about persuasion, that's like, it's sort of when I say that it's not just for salespeople. Persuasion is really about, making your ideas, your concepts, your thoughts, your hopes, your dreams known to other people in a way that wants them to be a part of it, that moves them to take action. There's this idea of what is success, how does someone become successful? Well, it always starts with them having a vision for the future. They have this vision of the way they want the world to be. That's not how it is now. Whether it's starts with having a business or a raise or something about a job in their job, then about having a nicer home, more money to spend. And money just meaning to have freedom to do the things they really want to do, to protect their family, to give to a church, a temple, to be generous, whatever it might be, right? But it always starts with you're here, you're somewhere, right, at the present, and then you have this idea of like, I see the world better for myself and the people around me. That's my vision for the future. And the question really is how do you connect the dots? How do you go from this place to that place, right? Well, I will tell you this. If you do not know how to persuade people, it is virtually impossible unless you want to hit lotto. You get lucky, you can hit lotto. Or if you remember the Lucky Sperm Club and you inherit it from your parents, right? Well, maybe, yeah, you can circumvent that process. But it's really about seeing the world as it is right now accurately, not worse than it is, but seeing the world accurately, then seeing the world better than it is, and then developing a strategy to get there. And one of the cornerstone strategies for that is being able to persuade, to influence, to make your thoughts known in a way that empowers people and gets you what you want to. Most people, and here's the irony, is that most people don't have a compelling vision for their own future. They don't. They move through life setting goals. And goals have no power. We're at this point, goals had power in 1959 when Earl Nightingale came with this idea of goal setting, and everyone's like, wow, I'm a goal-oriented person. And that was great. And it worked for like 20 years. Everyone set goals and they got results. But then all of a sudden, you set goals, and sometimes you hit them, sometimes you don't. Most times you don't. Okay, and that's okay. But goals almost became like a synonym for like, oh, I'm going to set a goal, and who gives a shit what really happens afterwards? And it almost is synonymous with failure now, goal setting. There's something above, and I believe in setting goals, but there's got to be something above your goals, and that's your vision for the future. And it's not just about, it doesn't have like an ending point. It's about the world being a certain way. And that's inspiring to you. When you truly have a vision for your future that inspires you, you're going to jump up out of bed in the morning and feel great about going at life versus being miserable and going to a job you hate or living a life that doesn't empower you and just, every day moving through just almost like an automaton, not really, having the zest and the greatness of life. And I'm guilty. I've been there myself when I felt like I didn't really have a compelling vision for my own future and I felt like I was wallowing. But at least I'm conscious of that. Once you become conscious of that, you can consciously create a vision for your future. It doesn't happen in 1 minute or an hour. You write it down, you work on it and when you finally hit on it, how you know you got it? When you read it back to yourself, your vision statement, and it moves you and you feel inspired. Okay, and so few people have that, and what happens is every human being is thirsty for a vision. Everyone is, and so few people have one. So what do? They gravitate towards someone who has a vision for the future because they want to be a part of a vision. Part of being a great entrepreneur is having that vision, being able to create the vision, and then sell that vision to other people, to get them to want to be inspired, to buy into it, to put in their time, their hard work, their elbow grease, to help you achieve your vision. If you're a smart one, then you spread the wealth around, and it's a win-win for everybody. But it always comes back to persuasion, because if you have the vision, but you can't sell it, what happens? You so-called you die with your music still on your lips.
Leonardo DiCaprio kind of give you a testimony off the record?
He did. No, Leo actually. I think I said earlier about when I first was going out into the world to speak, I didn't want to teach sales. I says, it's too powerful, the straight line system. If I teach it, people can misuse it. And Leo's like, what are you crazy? Because the things, because we had been through this. Went Leo in the movie is just he goes through the straight line system, and it's unbelievable. In fact, the movie ends with a seminar, and I have a cameo, which is great. I actually introduced myself. I introduced Leo as me, and he's giving a seminar to people, and teaching them how to sell using the straight line system, the logos in the back, and that's really, really cool. And Leo is just, I think and this is another interesting point, is that the movie, the script was written 6 years ago. I actually changed the ending of my own movie, because originally it ended with me in jail, the first script. Okay, and I was in jail, and that was the movie. Well, it got delayed for 6 years, and in those 6 years, I built up this really great business with teaching the straight lines. And Marty and Leo were so amazed, they changed the third act. So talk about having a vision for your own future and being able to really, no matter where you are in your life. I don't care if you're at the bottom of your life right now. You're in a spot where you think there's no way out. There's always a way out. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't like I just said, I'm going to go and become a speaker. I had all this negative baggage, negative press, all these things. Is he really rehabilitated? Is he reformed? Does he have some secret angle? All the stuff that I had to overcome. And it wasn't easy, and it wasn't always pleasant. But I had this vision. I knew where I wanted to go, and I worked really, really hard. And at the end of the day, Leo gave me this amazing testimonial where he says, it's my ambition and hard work. It's how I transform people's lives and blah 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 blah. And it was amazing. And then he wrote a letter as well, and it was great for my career. But the amazing part, I think, is to change the ending of your own life story. Now, my life's not over yet, hopefully, but the movie ended in jail. Now it ends with my new business. That's the power of persuasion. I don't care where you are in your life. I don't care how low you've fallen from any mistakes you made. You're not the mistakes of your past. You're the resources and the capabilities that you glean from your mistakes. You get stronger with every screw up if you're willing to learn from them. If you want to dwell on the past and live in your past and live in the mistakes, then you're going to be paralyzed with fear and doubt and everything else, and you're never going to live life to the fullest. But if you're willing to take a good, hard look at the past and say, listen, that was not good. I did, and I'm going to switch I see what my mistakes were. I know what I did right, know what I did wrong, and get honest with yourself and learn from those mistakes. If you have this power of persuasion, the ability essentially to take a vision and turn it into reality, your life, I don't care where your life, you can come back from anything. And I'm living proof of that. And I think of those 50 emails I get a day, 48 are good. About 35 of them are just that. I was in a bad spot in my life, and I read your book, or I attended one of your seminars, or I bought the straight line system on the online course, and it changed my life. And to me, that is freaking cool. That's what it's...
Hello, I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, and some of you may know that I'll be playing Jordan Belfort in the new film Wolf of Wall Street. Now, what separates Jordan's story from others like it is the brutal honesty in which he talks about the mistakes that he's made in his life. I've been in his company many times, but there is nothing quite like Jordan's public speaking and his ability to train and empower young entrepreneurs. Jordan stands as a shining example of the transformative qualities of ambition and hard work. And in that regard, he is a true motivator.